Hey guys, it's Megan and Dakota here from Cartropolis TCG, and today we'll be doing like a tag team type thing to cover our third teammates deck profile for the Springfest event in Ontario that happened this past weekend. Yes, our player C, Steven, lives quite a bit away, so we figured we wanted to get the profile up, so we would just kind of go over it on his behalf, I guess, which is totally fine because Dakota's actually the one that kind of like built it, and I'm the one that put it in deck log. So you know, with our powers combined, we'll get this thing out.
All right, so this started off as a waifu deck, and then at some point I realized I need to make this better. So I was just like trying to get various ideas for it. And it started off as mono yellow and then added blue and then took away the blue and added green. And then I was like, no, I need the blue back and then added the blue back in. So now it's 3 colors.
So now it's like a waifu centered deck, like your level 1 and 3 is like Alice focused. A lot of the support cards have like Alice in them. So yeah, for like a pseudo waifu deck though, it's actually like one of the better ones, I would say.
Yeah, I think this deck's perfectly playable. It does have its like weaknesses as a deck, but I do think this is like a very playable deck, and if you have the right matchups, you can win a lot of games, I think.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, like we had Steven in the C spot, which traditionally for team events is kind of like your like rogue deck kind of goes
Wild
there.
Card.
Yeah, just the wild card, you know. And it was actually so funny because our first match of the day, he ended up having a mirror match.
He was the only other player playing Alice, I
think
thought.
there was one more, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, just there was probably like 3 total out of, you know,
180
the
decks.
100 some odd people there.
Yeah.
It's just so funny.
As soon as the game started, I looked over and I was like, what the hell? Like, that's so ridiculous.
Yeah, but Steven's an excellent slot for the wild card because he's just so chill and so funny. And
he's probably too chill, but
I think it's a really good balance with how hyper-focused you get and how chill he is. And I'm just in the middle kind of absorbing it all.
Yeah. And again, just like in top 8, or when we got to top 8, these videos should be coming out. I don't know if you've watched any of the other ones, but they made me change my cool Comiket Alice sleeves out.
Yeah,
they look nice. They're like matte too. They're cool.
We did like kind of a Springfest kind of prep video, just tips and whatnot. And one of the things we did talk about is just be very wary of unlicensed sleeves, because at our event, it might be different from yours based off the event organizer. They have final say. But ours said no unlicensed sleeves in top 8 because they didn't want, like, if in the final match you had unlicensed sleeves and like the camera would be on you, you would have to change your sleeves out. Which is per like the Bushiroad floor rules. They don't like unlicensed products. But yeah, so we switched it out.
It was so funny what happened next.
Yeah. So we bought Dragon Shields earlier that day for
Steven likes WeCross.
Yeah, because we're all trying to like get into WeCross because it looks cute and it's pretty fun based off of like the trial decks we played with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had some Dragon Shields for like our WeCross decks. So Steven like opened the magenta ones, unsleeved the deck, re-sleeved it in these, but you could like slightly see the back of the Weiss Schwarz card, you know, like the white wing.
It wasn't
and a little
completely
bit
opaque.
Yeah, it wasn't completely opaque. So the guy doing our deck checks, you know, raised the question. The head judge said it was fine. He didn't care as long as the corners were fine, because, you know, people like kind of mark up the corner of their climaxes and like really pivotal cards. And then the event organizer stepped in, so we got a third opinion on it, and he said no. So yes.
And it was funny because like as soon as the other judge, the head judge, said it was fine, I was just like, you know, I'm just gonna switch because we had the blue ones already.
Yeah.
And I was like, I had already opened the box, and I was like, I have them ready. Like, do you just want me to start sleeving? And I like, you know what? I'm just gonna start sleeving. I grabbed the deck, and the judge like goes and takes my deck away from me, and I'm like, hey man, like I was like,
yeah,
not
he was like,
that.
oh, don't wait.
He's like, don't touch your deck.
Yeah,
and
don't
like,
touch your deck.
I'm like,
and I'm like, we're not. Like, this is ridiculous. Yeah, so this deck went through 3 sleeves before we could play in top 8. But yeah.
So these will eventually be on Wheatcross decks. But now, for this deck profile, they're going to
let's get another deck profile.
Yeah, they're going to be on the Alice deck. All right, for level 0s, we got 4 of this Alice and Asuna. It has a very unique effect. I don't really know what to call this. If you have this is a pretty popular effect. If your stock has 2 or less cards, it gets 1500 power, so it's a 3k. And then at the beginning of your opponent's attack phase, you can choose one character in your opponent's center stage and move it to another open position of their center stage. So if you put this out and, like, you know, attack with it, and they play like a character over here, at the beginning of your attack phase, you can, if it's smaller, you can put it over here. Or if they have a card that can out your Alice, like a 3/5 or something, then you could just move it over here and keep your Asuna Alice alive. The only way they can out this card is if they have a bomb or a card big enough and they play 3 things. Which then, because we have such a high like level 0 count, if they like rush us with 3 characters, we can easily rush them back and like reverse their characters. So like it kind of is good for us either way, I thought. So I think this card's really good. It's definitely like the card you want to like open with for sure. But very unique effect. Like a lot of people have to like read the card because they don't like really understand what it's talking about. So yeah, no, pretty good. We're playing it as 4 just so we open it more. Next up, we got this Alice from Alicization 1. Most of this deck, I think, is Alicization 2. I think there's only like 2, this and like 1 other card, 2 other cards, I think, that are from like Alicization 1 or like a promo or something. So this is basically a salvage Ricky. When it's sent to the waiting room, you can pay 1 stock. You look at 3 cards from the top of your deck. You put 1 of them into your clock. The cards go to the waiting room, and then you salvage a character. So if you have no cards in your waiting room, it allows you to mill a couple cards so you can salvage something. So you'll never miss on it. Okay, I guess if you hit 3 climaxes, I guess you miss on it. And your stock was also a climax. Like, that's so
that's
gonna
be a really bad game for you already.
Yeah. But it like color fixes. So like mid to late game, this is also really good because you can like toss like a blue or like a green if you need like one of those like splash colors. Because we're barely splashing green and blue in here. It's like very light. But yeah, this is like a plussing level 0. You can mulligan your level 1 combo if you would like, and you can like salvage it back. That's a little risky. I usually don't do that. But like if you have only like level 1s and higher in your hand, then of course you're gonna just ditch everything to try to get to a level 0, I think. So it's a way to get these back. Yeah, good salvage. It's good all game. It's good all game. It's better in first deck because the mill, if you're in second deck, then you might like hit more climaxes that way. But first deck, free mill that like is a salvage tricky, like it's good. Next up is part of the blue splash. We got this Kirito Rize. It gets +1 level and 500 power if you have if all of your characters are Flucklight, which is everything. So yeah, so it's a 2/5 level 1, so it can't be bombed. It can't be like origami from Data Live because that sucks.
I love that card.
Yeah. And when it gets reversed, look at top 3 cards of your deck, add a character to hand, discard a card. So if you don't want anything, you just mill them all. If you see your level 1 combo, you grab it, discard something else that's dead. If you need to grab like your next couple cards here, it's just very good like consistency card. But the main reason we're playing it is to splash for blue. That's like the main reason to play it.
Some people don't like Rizes, and I think they are just kind of one of the more like underrated kind of common staple cards you find in sets. Like, it seems perfectly fine.
I do feel like Rizes are put there if you don't have anything else to put there. They're kind of like flex slots usually. But yeah, no, they are. I do think they're underrated because being able to mill in first deck is good. Digging for your level 1 combo is good. Yeah. And this one's cool because it can't be like denied.
Oh yeah, no.
Like you can't like clock or stock it or anything.
Good.
Yeah, so that's actually very unique for like a Rize, I think. All right, next up we got this Brainstorm. This brainstorm's super sweet, and I would consider playing 4 if I could find like another card to cut, because it's like so important for the deck. Like Steven had a game where he just never drew his brainstorm all game and like literally couldn't grab it off anything. So I don't know, like, yeah, I don't know if he was just having a bad game or maybe he like missed something, but yeah. So if you have another, we'll get to it, the next level 0. If you have this level 0 out, it's a global 500. So that's like pretty cool because on both players' turns. And then it's a rest 2 brainstorm, but it's for 5 cards and it only hits on wind triggers. So
is it a search brainstorm?
It's a salvage.
Oh, okay.
It's a salvage. Yeah. Most of the deck is salvaging, actually. Because, like, this salvages, that salvages. Yeah, pretty much all of it's salvaging. But, yeah, it's cool. Like, okay, I'll just get to this part. All right, this card's sweet. This card's super good, and I think this is the only reason why this... Okay, it's one of the main reasons why this is a deck. It is a global 500. You don't need this out to get the 500, but you need this one out for this one to get 500. So if you have both of these out, like you should, it's global 1K.
Yeah, like characters. That's your perfect back row. Yeah. It's just having both of them out.
And it's pretty easy. Like I play 3 of each just so like I can get them. But honestly, you probably could be greedy and just play like less and play like more like other cards. And once you just find them, you just leave them there for the rest of the game. So any additional copies are basically dead at that point.
Yeah, and you can't like level them down or anything like that because they're
level zeros. Yeah. So yeah, they're pretty safe. Pretty safe. This card's super sweet. When you trigger a wind on attack, you can look at the top card of your deck, put it underneath this as a marker, and then at the beginning of your climax phase, you can remove the marker to bounce one of your opponent's characters. So this, combined with like triggering winds on attack to like refill it, is super annoying for any standby deck. Like you just bounce their Galanes in the back row or bounce their like 2/2s. A lot of standby decks, like most standby decks, don't have the twin drive that Mushoku has, so it's harder for them to recover. Mushoku can recover, but if you just are using this like every turn and just getting free direct attacks, like it's kind of crazy actually, like how annoying this kind of card is. If your opponent has something with hexproof, of course you can't bounce it, but like there's not a lot of that out anyway. But this card's super sweet. Also, it's really cool because if you have like an open lane that you bounced, right, you can play a second one, and if you trigger a wind, then you can get both of them. And like, I mean, I guess this isn't gonna live till your next turn unless you like move up your brainstorm and let it die for whatever reason, which could be actually like a play, but it's still like a little bit of compression maybe. So like it just kind of gets through your deck if you need to. But no, this card is like super sweet. Super sweet. All right, last level 0. It is a lot of level 0s. But this was Steven's favorite card of like the deck throughout the tournament. So this one is our green fixing. All your other Integrity Knight or Noble characters get the following ability of this card cannot be chosen by your opponent's effects. So basically hexproof.
Yeah, it's a global hexproof for most of the deck.
But it's only Integrity Knights. So it doesn't work on Baby Alice or Kirito.
Or Yu-Gi-Oh.
Oh yeah, because he's not
an
Integrity
Knight. Yeah. No.
Yeah, this one's Integrity Knight. It's mostly for this guy. You don't care about your early play. Your early play is just there to heal.
I'm just listing the things.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to think what else. I don't think anything else. This Xenon's not Integrity Knight. This backup's not, but like it's...
Yeah, this early play's not, like, so, like, the important pieces of this deck are Integrity Knights, so...
Are those last, is that last level 3 assist? No, the other one. Is that Integrity?
Yeah, it's an Integrity
Knight. Okay.
Yeah, it protects your back row assist, it protects your finisher, like...
Yeah. So if you go, like, triple finisher, you can prevent yourself from getting rest countered.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, or like money countered and stuff, which would totally crap on this deck actually if you get like money countered.
Like,
so
I was player B, So I heard quite a few of Steven's like interactions with his matches, and people were like, I understand why that's his favorite card of the deck, because that's the one that people were not expecting and was like kind of taking them aback, and it really shut down, I think, quite a bit of his opponent's plays throughout the day.
Yeah. Like, I would consider, like, one thing you could do is, like, cut these for, like, 4, 4, 4, 4, and just go, like, that route instead, which would increase the consistency of the deck, but then you don't have any big things.
Yeah.
So,
no, I think keeping it's fine.
Yeah, it's just, this is also just a kind of annoying card to deal with. But this actually has another effect that Steven didn't even know about because he was so freaking hyped over the hexproof effect. And he didn't even know this until like midway through the tournament where he like read it. He's like, Dakota, you didn't tell me there's another effect on this card.
Oh my god. While he has it in his hand.
Yeah. So when your other Integrity Knight or Noble character's frontal attack, you may pay the cost of killing this and paying a stock, and you can bounce another character to your hand. So you can like save your level 1 combos or like your like level 3s to reuse again, which doesn't come up a lot, but it can like randomly deny your opponent reverses if they're not paying attention. Like I feel like you could definitely get people with that. So you can like use your level 1 combo. We'll actually get into the level 1 combo because it'll make more sense what this can do with the level 1 combo. So we're playing this OFR like Alice and Alice combo. It gets 500 for each other character, so it's a 5/5, and then it combos with a wind because we're playing 8 wind. How I remember which wind it is this is a kid and that's a kid, so that's how I know not to mix them up. Yeah, also they like look happy and they're happy, so. Don't mix up because Steven, like, which combos with which?
Yeah, like for play testing.
Yeah,
he got a little confused with what went with what, which is fair. It's a lot of Alice.
Yeah. So when you have this in the climax area and you have like this out on attack, you blind stock the top card of your deck and then you reveal the top card. If it has a soul icon, you can add it to hand. So you can't add any zeros to hand. There's not like, I'm not gonna say there's a ton of targets in the deck. And there's probably some more math we can like work out to make it slightly better in our favor. But you can add climaxes to hand. So if you hit this climax to hand, then you can reuse the combo and use this to like bounce this back. And then next turn play it again and go again. But sweet. This generates so much stock because you're like, you get 3 attacks. So that's 3 stock. And then you get 3 more stock. So you get a lot of stock.
Yeah.
Also just eats through your first deck. So like hopefully you don't blind stock too many, but you can usually pay it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's an okay combo. It's like it's kind of a +2 if you're lucky. Like I guess like if the stock can be used for a plus, like a brainstorm or like a Ricky or something, but
overhearing Steven all day was super funny because he would be explaining this card effect and talking about this combo, and he's like, oh, but it doesn't work on little blonde girl with older blonde girl. It only works on old blonde lady, and like things like that. And I'm just like trying to focus on my match, and he's just being so chill and just so funny, and oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's very like Japanese wise player of him to like when he's explaining that, because that's exactly how you explain things when people are playing Japanese decks. He's like, this is a global 500 but only for the blue-haired girls and not the red-haired girls. Like it's like that a lot actually.
Well, I feel like the majority of people that play Japanese wise, like they don't know the names of their cards. I couldn't tell you a single name of a single card in my Zombieland deck, but I can tell you all their effects by heart.
Yeah. Yeah. Japanese wise is kind of funny, actually.
I prefer that format. It's a lot more chill.
Oh my gosh. That's because nobody knows what they're doing and it's fine.
That's fun. That's the fun of it.
But yeah, the combo's fine. Like, there's another combo from set 1, but I think this combo's just better.
Is that the one where she has the eye patch?
Yeah.
And it's like the champion promo?
Yeah. Next up, we got this Free Fresh. This was one of Steven's favorite cards, and it's pretty good. He was complaining about having like not enough ways to to ditch cards, because if you add these to hand, you can kind of clog if you hit too many of them. But this is on play, ditch 2 cards from your hand to your waiting room, and then you return all cards from your waiting room to your deck, and then shuffle your deck. So yeah, it's a free fresh. And then for each climax that you shuffled back in your deck, your opponent's board gets -500. So if you shuffle 6 climaxes back into your opponent's deck, it's only front row. Their front row gets -3k. So their like standby deck just gets weakish.
Yeah.
Like it gets.
And it can even like kill things, you know, if it's small enough. So.
Yeah. Just kill some level 0s randomly, and then you get a nice little free swing. Like it's 500 power.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can ditch extra climaxes. One cool interaction that I forgot to say with this is when you reveal a climax off of the effect, it says you may add it to hand. So if you need to trigger the wind to bounce something and to get a marker with this, you can choose not to add it to hand. So it's kind of like a little bit of a scry effect with the reveal on this. So that's actually pretty cool. So yeah, so if you need the plus, like if your hand's getting desperately low and you just need something to clock next turn, just take the card. But yeah, if you really need a wind, you don't take the plus, you bounce, and then you get the marker. So it's like kind of plussing 2, essentially. Next up, we have another little bit of the blue splash. It's the Xenon. She is not Integrity Knight, so she cannot get hexproof with that Sedge. It's like on play, get like 500 power for each of your Flucklight characters. So it's like a 7k on play. And then the main reason we're playing it is it's a climax swapper. So if you add the other climax with the Alice combo, then you can use this to swap it with this one and kind of go again, kind of thing. But yeah, it was just like most decks should be playing climax swappers. Like it's just nice to have.
Yeah, I'd argue that. I mean,
yeah. And you have a good amount of milling, so if you mill it, you don't care, or if it dies, you don't care because your brainstorm's a salvage.
I mean, you'd have to be like Mashoku 8 standby and not care about climax swapping.
Even that deck doesn't care. Or, oh yeah, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, because, I mean, sometimes you draw the other combo and you don't have the Eris combo.
Joke.
Oh, okay.
Just move on.
Just play SAO 8 standby. It's all vanillas.
All vanilla. You don't have to worry about what you're doing.
Oh my gosh. And then lastly, for our level 1s, we have this 1/1 counter. It's also green fix, but it's just a 2k counter that when you pay the 1, you just blind stock. So it can help you pay out climaxes or something. So if you trigger a wind, it gets stuck, you can use this to pay it out. Yeah, that's basically why it's there. It's not great, but it's mostly color fix. All right, next up, we got the spice. We got the main reason we're playing green. We got, I don't even know his name. He's Italian, right? I don't know, Bercoli. I think that's his name. Megan hates his character.
I liked him up until he was like, okay, spoilers really quick, so like skip a few seconds. But like up until he died, and I've already went on a tirade about this, but I'm like, don't leave your like girlfriend or whatever who's pregnant and you like whisper in her ear in your like astral form being like, hey, take care of our kid or whatever. I'm just gonna ride off on my astral dragon now because the dragon died too, with like the administrator just chilling in my lap.
Yeah.
Like super sus, bro. You just died. Like you just got out of a relationship technically. Maybe get the broad off your lap. Like, oh my gosh, don't get me started. Dakota brings this up every time, and
so
I think it's
funny.
just to tilt me.
It's so funny. Anyways, they gave this guy one of the most broken cards I think I've ever like seen. Okay, so it's a 2/1, okay? So you can't play it to level 2. It's 6k. It gets 1,000 for each other Flucklight character, which is everything in the deck. So it's basically at 10k, which with your back row, it's 11k. With the backup, it's 13. So like, it's not like small. But when your opponent plays a climax into their climax area, you can pay 2 stock and discard 2 cards. And then whatever character is facing him, you just straight up kill it. So like, if you push your opponent, if you play 3 of these, slam a climax and just push your opponent to 3, if they need to play their like finishers and play their climax combo, you just use all your stock in your hand to just wipe their board.
No, that card's so gross. And
Like,
even
they
during
can't do that.
playtesting, like, removing that was a priority.
Yeah, like leveling it down if your deck can do that, which only one, the Bolt Free can do it, and
Bolt Free can do it,
Data Life can do it. I don't know anyone else who can do it.
Anything that can bounce, I guess.
Oh yeah,
like,
bouncing
just...
would work. Not if he has hexproof. Oh, you can't. You can't level down if he has hexproof.
Wait, what?
You can't level down if he has hexproof.
Oh, I see. So you just need to hope
Yeah.
that back row isn't there, that card isn't there.
Yeah, I mean, it's not
my
realistic
gosh.
that you put 3 of them out if you're only playing 3, but like...
Is that all of your other Fluctlight characters for the hexproof?
So you would have to bounce this and then level this down.
It is, oh, okay, so
yeah,
it is
it's
all of your
other.
other.
Okay, you're never going to have like the Exodia board of like just 3 and 2. Like, these are too important to like the rest of your game plan.
So I'm like...
Yeah, but like, yeah, so you just put like 2 of these out and just like one of anything else really, and your opponent's like, well, I guess I can put 1 finisher here and just like...
Even just having
the threat of him out.
Yeah.
You just put him out and your opponent's like, well, I guess I can't climax combo this turn. They just have to waste their turn running over him. They push you to 3 and then you drop your finishers.
Yeah, exactly. Like that card's such a pain. Even if you don't put your like finishing card in front of it, like let's say your finisher got restricted to 2 for some reason. Like, I don't want that on the field. I don't want that shutting down, you know, an attack, that stock, you know, the damage potential. Like,
it's essentially a pay 2, discard 2 money counter on a character.
Yeah.
If you think about it, like,
yeah, no, it's
searchable money counter, guys.
It's Weiss, and the mirror match I noticed was also playing this card because it's just good. And it would, I don't think it would take a whole lot of like deck brewing to figure out like, oh, this card's really good. It should be in the deck.
Yeah, no, this card's super, super sweet. Also, if your opponent doesn't read it and just like, like if they don't fully read the card or something,
if your opponent's not paying attention, this sleazeball's gonna really make their day.
Yeah. And then lastly, the last 2 cards for level 2, we got some like early play killers. He gets pretty big and can get over things, but these kind of are just ways to get around like hand-on core things. This is a promo. Oh no, it's just an uncommon from the first set. Okay, I didn't know if this was a promo or an uncommon. But when it gets reversed, if your opponent is higher than their level, so they play an early play, you just run into it and kill it. So not the best, but you send it to memory, so they can't like hand-on core it. It's like Shizu from Slime. They can't hand-on core that. The Heiress, when it gets reversed, because it's your turn, your effect will go off. You have priority. Yeah, so you'll send them to memory before they can save their Heiress and stuff. Yeah. So
I guess the only unfortunate thing is that it is like a level 2.
As opposed to a level 1.
Yeah, it is kind of up there. So there's that like Kirito level 1, but I don't...
It's blue.
Well, you have blue.
Yeah, but
you have a tiny amount of blue.
Yeah, I don't know. This is Integrity Knight. You can give it hexproof. It's fine.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know if this is better than the Kirito.
It has the soul icon too. Isn't that important?
Doesn't the Kirito? Most 1/1s have
Oh yeah, no,
soul icon.
yeah, it has that too. I think if I were building this deck, I'd try out the 1/1.
So the 1/1 can kill 2/2s, but you'll just be bouncing the 2/2s. So I don't know. It depends on if the memory is important to you, because the Kirito does not send a memory.
Does the Kirito just reverse?
It just probably either reverse or send away.
Dude, gross. I'm so spoiled over here with my bottom deck Yoshino. Ugh.
Yeah, no, that card's actually really good.
She's so good.
That's super good.
Or like the wolf thing from Slime also does bottom deck.
Yeah. And then our last early play killer is a backup. It's a discard 2. And then bottom decks it. So this also can get around. So both of our early play killers get around the any kind of hand-on core shenanigans. Discarding 2, along with this being discard 2, like, and this discard 2, like, sometimes you do run out of hand. But the Alice builds you up so much stock that you can, like, just save some of your characters. And your Brainstorm's really nice because you're hitting 5, so you usually hit on your Brainstorms. But yeah, sometimes you do get kind of low on hand. It just kind of, if you whiff on your combo multiple times, then sometimes the games kind of get out of hand. But yeah, this is more of like a, if you use this, usually if you use this like correctly, it's probably going to win you the game. It's going to put you ahead in the game. you wouldn't use it if like it would just take all your resources away.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah. This would probably be better if it did cost 3 stock, because this just builds you up so much stock. And it would pay out bland stock. So actually, like, if they had another one, it would be better than this probably. And then next up, we have our early plays, like leading up into 3. This is the main reason I splashed blue, is this Yu-Gi-Oh! He's not Integrity Knight, so you can't get the hexproof. It's whatever. But yeah, if you
That'd
have
be sweet if he could.
that, I mean, you don't. If your opponent kills him, he kind of already did his job. So he's a. If you have 4 more characters, he's an early play. He heals and he gets 2k on your turn. On play, he gets 500 for each of your other characters. So yeah, when you play him last, he's an 11k healer, early play. Which is the main reason I wanted him in the deck, is because the deck initially had no healers at all, and just me being me, I need healers in my deck, so I needed to put some healers in. But yeah, so if your opponent like uses a backup like this to kill him, he did his job. He healed you, and that's all that matters. You just need to heal down a little bit, buy yourself some time to set up before you get to like actual level 3. Also, you can run over stuff, so that's cool too. Next up, we got another early play. This one is if you have 2 or less climaxes, it's an early play. If you have a certain amount of characters, if you have 2 or more Fluctlight characters, which is like everything, it gets 1500 in hand on core. So you can keep this alive, which can be relevant. Like if you have a lot of dead level 0s, just keeping it a 2 soul attack route's nice.
Yeah.
Consistently. And then it's a top X check. So when you play it, you can look at the top X cards equal to the amount of characters you have. So this combined with like our finisher can grab us our climax to win the game. Also, I've used it once to like mill through the deck if you play it, just to, like get through the deck. If you're like need a refresh or something. Also not integrity in it. Because it has Asuna, I guess.
Yeah, it has like the goddess trait.
Yeah. All right, now on to our finisher. We got the Alice from Alicization 2. This card is pretty solid at finishing games, I would say. The downside is it does not heal. So Climax combo. Gosh, I'm like running out of space.
Just put it like right there, I think would be fine.
Yeah, I gotta move this up, I think.
Okay.
I think. All right. Combos with the wind. The combo with the wind is on attack, burn 1 your opponent, so it's whatever. But this also has the Musashi effect. So during the turn that it's played, if your opponent cancels, you mill the top card of your deck and you burn for that card's level +1. So if you mill a 0, you burn 1. If you mill a 3 like Steven stacked and did, you burn 4, and then the guy eats it. And
and then it actually stuck. Like, oh
yeah.
my gosh. Steven has the Camelot deck from Fate and JP, and he never gets the burn effect off. And then, the one time he gets it off, it's for 4, and it's just disgusting.
So funny, yeah. But yeah, this card's like pretty good. If your opponent's at like anything higher than like 3-0, like they could very well die.
Oh yeah.
It's very good at pushing damage. Like if your opponent's at like 3-2, I think, or if they're at 3-3, they're like pretty dead.
Yeah.
If they're at 3-2, they're still pretty dead.
Yeah, no.
I think if they're at 3-4, they're 100% dead.
Oh, probably.
Because you get the all the pings. And then you have 3 lethals, and then you also have the Musashis.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think anyone can live with that, but...
No, it has some really nice finishing potential.
Yeah, what were you about to say?
I don't remember.
Oh, okay. And then 2 last cards. Steven really liked this card. I wish I maybe had another one of these. But it's a 3-2 assist. It's a 2k assist to Fluctlight characters in front of it. And during this card's battle, your opponent cannot play event cards. So it prevents you from getting money countered, which doesn't really matter because if you have this, if you have the Hexproof card, they can't target it anyways because it's Integrity Knight. So that's whatever. But also on play, you can just bounce something. So this combined with like this, you can bounce 2 things in 1 turn. Can they not see this? Or...
Oh, well, yeah. Like the
Okay.
glare's pretty bad for all 4 of those, but it's fine. It's just the climax.
Oh, just the climaxes. Okay. Maybe I'll just like slide it this way then. I don't know. It's whatever.
I don't want to disrupt the video. Oh yeah, no, it's 10,000% better.
Okay, whatever. But yeah, so this card, like, it's just a nice another way to bounce something. Like, you can bounce their, like, back row, and then now you're 11, or like 10, 11, and like 12, maybe. It depends on if you need the hexproof card or not. But yeah, just a nice bounce. And then lastly, we have a stock swap, just on play, pay 1. This card's probably not needed because,
what?
like, because your finisher can fight through climaxes. Basically.
I'm a huge fan of stock swapping.
I know, like, it's good if you can't get your like combo going, then like this with like just healers might be okay too.
Also in his top 8 match, I think that stock swap really helped him win. In our top 8 match, Steven was the only one that won his game.
Yeah.
I did some pretty severe misplays because I just cracked like a farm fresh egg under that pressure that I'm not used to at all. And then Dakota just had a bad time.
We don't talk about that game.
We don't talk about that. Yeah, clearly. We still don't talk about that game.
No. But yeah, so like the deck was still Steven's such a pain. Like, okay, so I was still just like testing this because keep in mind, this is just like my fun deck that I just like. I love SAO, okay? I have like 8 max ready SAO decks. This was just like a fun project I was just messing around with. And then Steven's joking like, oh, I'm going to play Card Captor. And I was like, I accepted that he was just going to play Card Captor for this tournament. And he's like, no, let me play Link Strike. I want to play the deck that you topped with years ago. I'm like, dude, what the heck? And then like we didn't have like all the cards for that because I like sold my triple rare climaxes a lot like years ago. And then he's like, fine, I'll play Last Shot Xenon. And then he like played a game with that. And he's like, oh, I'll take 8 Wind Alice. Like he just swapped like 4 decks in like a couple minutes.
Just in the span of like, yeah,
One
maybe
day.
an hour or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. He loves SAO too, so I think this was a perfectly okay point. I mean, I think you'd prefer him playing this over Card Captor, for example. I think you really wanted him to play Adventure Time.
I think Adventure Time would have been a better deck.
And then at the last minute, we were like playtesting, you know? We got a hold of some Ruby cards. And he just like fell in love with the Ruby deck. And we're like, well, we can't change it because pre-reg is already closed. So you're stuck with Alice. Like, personally,
I don't want to say this deck was a mistake, but honestly, getting top 8 was a small mistake. Like, only for the fact that like we couldn't switch decks.
Yeah, like yeah, I don't know.
It feels bad for any Alice fans out there. Like,
yeah. I don't know how serious he was, but I think Steven wouldn't be too distraught if he never played this deck again.
Oh my gosh.
Like, the event was super long, and we were expecting it to be 6 rounds, and then it turned to 7 rounds, and then we got to top 8, so we kept him there for like an extra like 2-3 hours, and he was so ready to just eat food and lay down.
There was definitely a round where he like literally told us that he threw a game just because he was just like could not focus anymore.
Yeah,
he was too hungry, needed water.
Yeah,
just
just out of it.
Like he said he misplayed like 30 times. Like
yeah.
He said his opponent messed up and it still didn't matter. Like he just basically threw the game away. So that's unfortunate, but like, yeah, I mean, part of tournaments and part of long tournaments is being able to stay mentally there through the entire thing.
Yeah. And being like the first one in 2 years, you know, I don't think anyone was really ready for that like tournament grind, you know?
Yeah, not unless you have a lot of experience playing like tournaments.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean the deck's fun to play. Like it does brick sometimes. Like it is a lot of moving pieces, and now we're playing like 3 colors.
Yeah. It is one of the few things currently though that I think can like really punish like even Mushoku, you know?
Yeah, like we played a game and like this deck did kill me once. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. With the twin drive, you can usually recover, but if they just continuously keep bouncing your stuff, like it does like feel bad.
Yeah, like it adds up.
Yeah.
Even for a deck like that.
Yeah, here's the deck for all the people who are asking for the Alice deck. Like, I hope you enjoy it. I hope you like mess around with it because like this deck is 100% like playable.
Yeah.
It's playable. I don't think the perfect deck has been found yet.
I don't think so.
I don't think like there's a deck that's just straight yellow green with like no blue, but there's just no healing there. Like I just don't.
Like that's
I don't think that's
dangerous.
it either.
I think.
But I don't think yellow blue is it because this card is insane. Like,
Yeah. No. Some mix
Yeah.
of this I think is good. I don't know. Someone will like crack the code. Being 8 wind, you know, it's like kind of designed to like do one thing, and it has a really good matchup against a certain other thing.
It
you know,
plays
being
very like
standby.
aggro tempo. It's not a defensive deck, so like not having plussing triggers does feel bad. But
Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know. I think it's for a fun deck too. I think it's perfectly solid. You know. If it's like a really, it's an easy deck to build as well. There's like what 3 cards in here that aren't from set 2, which is so like heavily opened, and like I think most of the cards are still like really cheap.
I bet if you took this card out and put in just like one more each of like those,
Yeah.
and like, I mean these aren't expensive.
Right. And you could even swap out that 2/1 Alice. I think for the 1/1 Kirito maybe.
This is an uncommon, so I don't think this is worth anything.
Yeah. I think so.
But this deck has to be like less than $50.
Yeah, probably.
Like this deck has to be cheap.
Yeah, like a pretty semi-tournament ready deck for under $100, and that's really good.
Yeah, I swear this deck would be less than 50. Like this is a double rare. There's a double rare. That's a double rare. I guess that's a double rare. But like,
Yeah.
I guess this card's from set 1, so like maybe that.
I
I don't know.
Anyway.
Yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you guys like the deck. Sorry we didn't like hype it up, but it's not really finished. Like it wasn't really ready to.
Yeah, it was like a for funsies pet deck that ended up landing in top 8.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Go ahead and leave like a comment or a like or a question or anything like that, and we'd be happy to get back to you. Yeah. Until then, and next time. See ya. Bye.